Hello YouTube, welcome back to Echo Base Network. Coach here, bringing you another Star Wars wrap-up video where we discuss the happenings of the week. First and foremost, happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Hope you have a great day. Now, on to the Star Wars. In our first story of the day, there are major changes at Disneyland and Disney World parks with new Star Wars characters. A new comic series centered on Jedi Master Yoda. An incredible new Star Wars museum exhibit. A super rare original Star Wars toy brings in £57,000 at auction. Sportswear company Columbia unveils its 2022 Star Wars winter lineup. Gaming chair company Secret Lab releases 2 new Star Wars edition chairs. Cinematographers James Friend and Chris Teague board Star Wars: The Acolyte. Star Wars Jedi Survivor to be featured at the Game Awards. Commander Cody is coming this January to Star Wars: The Bad Batch. And lastly, this week's Andor season finale thoughts and reactions around the world. And as always, folks, please hit that subscribe button, like the video, give us a comment, visit our merch store, all that good stuff. Come to our Saturday night shows. And now, it's time to get into this video. Ever since the opening of Galaxy's Edge, Disney has always received widespread criticism about the lack of certain Star Wars figures, certain Star Wars characters appearing at the theme park itself. I mean, you walk around and you don't see a lot of the original trilogy characters, and they obviously built their Star Wars world to feature the sequel trilogy characters, Kylo Ren, Rey, BB-8, and all of that. Well, now that appears to be changing. This week at Batu's Black Spire Outpost at Disneyland, you will be able to see Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, walking around with Grogu on his hip. And what does that mean? Obviously, fans are really excited about the inclusion of different era characters. Now, they're going back here. It's recent Star Wars. It's definitely more recent than the sequel trilogy, but they're going back to a previous time in the Star Wars timeline and lore. And I don't know, it makes me very happy to know that we're going to get characters that aren't just necessarily sequel trilogy related characters. Give us Mandalorian, give us Bo-Katan, give us Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, and you have a win. Now, Gizmodo reports that the fan base is divided over this kind of thing. I don't really see that division. Sure, there's going to be some people that want to see sequel trilogy characters there, but the majority of fans would be way more excited about seeing Mando and Grogu, original trilogy, and even prequel trilogy characters. That's my opinion. And a recently released comic book, Star Wars Yoda #1, released on November 23rd. If you would like to know more about the character of Yoda and his story, go check out Marvel Comics' brand new illustrated comic book, Yoda #1, written by Kevin Scott. Marvel's highly anticipated Star Wars Yoda miniseries finds the ancient Jedi Master in exile on Dagobah, thinking back to previously untold adventures of the past. In StarWars.com's first look at issue #1, a story called The Coming of the Jedi, set during the High Republic era, a people known as the Skalvi are in danger. With no alternatives, the Skalvi child makes a desperate plea for help, hoping that someone on the Jedi Council. Banbury Museum in the UK has apparently the finest collection of Star Wars toys and original print posters that you could ever go see. For all of our friends over in the UK, you can go check out the Banbury Museum and its program called May the Toys Be With You. I'm a fan of Star Wars toys. Who isn't, by the way? And posters bring in massive amounts of money and are very highly collectible, especially when you're talking about first print posters back from the 70s and 80s with the original trilogy. Those are highly sought after. So it would really be cool to go over there and check this out. And speaking of Star Wars toys, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ben Kenobi, he was the figure that a lot of kids didn't quite like or play with. I did. But a lot of kids are like, oh, he's the old man, I don't want him. Like, give me Darth Vader, give me Luke Skywalker. We're talking Kenner 1977 12-pack figures here. Well, one recently sold for £57,000. and only really serious hardcore Star Wars collectors know why. If you want to know why, the very first original runs of the figures with the lightsabers had double telescoping lightsabers. The double telescoping sabers were easily broken and eventually made one single plastic mold for the lightsaber. So the double telescoping plastic saber figures, actually not the figure, just the saber itself, that's really what's sought after and very collectible. It's really difficult to find a double telescoping figure mint on card that's unopened like you see right here with Ben Kenobi. That's why this piece sold for $57,000 at Hakes auctions over on the internet. That Hakes always has incredible, very high scale Star Wars auctions. Way too rich for my blood, but this is an incredible piece. If you ever come across a Darth Vader or an Obi-Wan Kenobi double telescoping figure, you need to scoop that thing up. The Luke Skywalker double telescoping figures, although they are very sought after, they're much more common than the other two. So hurry and go look in Mom's attic and go find those figures and send them to P.O. Box, Echo Base Network, Coach. And speaking of things that are a lot of money, Columbia Sportswear has unveiled their 2022 Winter Star Wars Edition apparel. And man, if you've got money, these are definitely awesome to go get. I remember a few years ago, Columbia came out with the Hoth jacket. Oh, it was so sweet. And I wish I had it, but I cannot afford to go drop $800 now on a jacket that's no longer being produced. That's about how much they cost at this point. Well, if you like Columbia and you like Star Wars, check these out. Columbia says that its lineup this year is inspired by the Clone Wars. They've got an Ahsoka Tano jacket here that you can see, also featuring the inside of the jacket running $414 retail. You could also get a Republic parka, and last but not least, Republic pullovers and hats. So go over to Columbia and check those out before they're all gone. And gaming chair company Secret Lab, who's the best by the way, this video is not sponsored, but I wish it was. They've got two new Star Wars Edition chairs coming. One is the Stormtrooper chair and one is the Empire chair. So you see them right here, folks. Evo Secret Lab Titan 2022 editions. The black with the red accent Empire and the white and the black accent Stormtrooper chair. Those are sweet. And this just in. There's a new used chair over at Echo Base Network. Hit Coach up, because I think I want that Empire chair. And things with the Acolyte continue to heat up. Cinematographers James Friend and Chris Teague have joined the show. Chris Teague has been reunited with showrunner Leslie Headland, they have worked together in the past. The Acolyte has already begun filming over at Shinfield Studios in Berkshire, England. So stay with us and we'll be bringing you more about this show in the future. One of the things that we talked about last night on our live stream, it was a random live stream. We wanted to do it because the ending of Andor and the finale, and give you guys a chance to come in and talk and share with us what you thought about the show. Well, during that conversation that we had a great group of panelists. We talked about how Disney makes money. We talked about how Star Wars makes money. They're not really selling toys. And it's not really a knock just on Star Wars. Kids don't really buy toys anymore, but they will buy games. And with Star Wars Jedi Survivor coming out in the very near future, and they're going to be featured at the Game Awards, they're certain to make bukus of money with this game. So on December 8th, when the Games Awards take place, have your eyes open and be ready to find out a lot more about Jedi Survivor. And Insider Gaming also reported that be looking specifically around the 30-minute mark in the live show. That's when the Jedi Survivor news and video is going to drop. Do you like Commander Cody? I do. He's the one that was always fighting alongside Obi-Wan Kenobi until Order 66 and the iconic moment, oh man, I kind of look like Commander Cody today. Well, anyways, he does this number right here, and they fire on Obi-Wan Kenobi. We don't really know what happened to Commander Cody. Well, now we're going to get plenty of Cody in The Bad Batch Season 2, which is coming January. I cannot wait for that show, believe it or not, even though it has Omega. And lastly, the Andor Season 1 finale just happened this week. People are all over the place. Now, it seems like the majority of fans that watch it really, really like it, but there are those that are what we just say meh about it. And that's kind of the boat that I was in. Time actually did an article on why Andor is possibly the most underrated Star Wars show of all time. Now, and that might actually be true. That might actually be true. It might be very underrated. We're not suffering from Star Wars fatigue. Andor is a well-written show with Tony Gilroy. Now, I got my criticisms and complaints. Many people are saying that there's too much, it's stretched too thin, too many characters, I don't know what's going on, and other people think it's brilliant writing, that every moment keeps you entrenched in it, you're just absorbed in it, you got to pay attention and see what's going on in this show. There are no dull moments, there are no filler, everything means something. Where do you guys see that? Where do you guys see Andor? On the whole, season 1, it came to an end. We're going to get season 2 eventually. It's going to take a while, but season 2 is coming. This is going to be the end of Diego Luna, who says he's hanging up the Star Wars boots. He reported that this past week, which none of us would expect him to go on anything past season 2 of Andor. But let us know in the comments what you think about the finale of Andor, and are you looking forward to season 2? And I want to thank you guys for coming by Echo Base Network today. It means so much to us. As we always say here, we are, you are, Echo Base Network. May the Force be with you, and we'll see you guys this Saturday night. Go eat some turkey.